Hi all, and welcome to my Jurrasic jungle garden journey, which is just basically me shoving a load of ferns in and calling it Jurrasic, but don't tell anyone that. So going on from, I think it was about a couple of weeks ago now, I put one out. Things have been moving on nicely, starting to get out of gardening and into landscaping mode again though, which is probably better for me as in what I know. So if we start here, you see that fence post in the middle, I've put that in, and the reason I wanted to get that in is because I need it to put some fencing across for when the honeysuckle comes. He's going sort of behind the eucomis over there, between the banana and the eucomis, and it's going to sort of go up that fence and then come across here and then come across a pergola that I'm going to put in. But I needed to get that one in because there's loads of concrete down where I've dug it in, and I just needed to see where I could get it in. That worked out quite nicely though, because I also, this seating area, I put one in here because when I was putting these sort of little coping stones down that I found, I remember there was a massive root from this tree behind the fence which was high enough and big enough that I couldn't get a coping stone down, and as I dug down there's another root coming the other side as well, so I've managed just to slip that one in there just about, and he's got away with it. But that gives me my two fixed points to work off for any roofing I might want to do, or the pergola. And it means that these two that will go in here, one there and one at the equivalent of distance at the end, they should be alright, because there's nothing, you know, like concrete or stuff like that there. So anyway, we'll get to that when we get to it. So yeah, this, I'm just going to basically, those curb stones you can see at the back, I'm going to put them in between this fence post and this one, double stack them, and then they should end up as high as that bit of wood at the back there at the bottom. That's my finished height for this seating area. And then what I'll do, I'll take out all these stones I was using as a bit of a retaining wall just temporarily, and then I'll fill it with some really nice soil. I'm going to put a trellis in between them up this high to hopefully break the wind up for the tree fern and any other ferns down over there, that's coming off the top of the garage. And it just means if that Fatshedera over there doesn't make it up and across, then I can put a climber in down here and have it grow at the trellis as well. But you know, that's a bit more long term, but it's nice to sort of get the fixed points in, if you see what I mean. So I'm happy with that. So let's move on. We'll have a bit of a whiz round. You can just see what else I've been up to. So yeah, like I said, the Fatshedera still growing strong, growing them up the bamboo behind the seating area, and hopefully across to a trellis that will go in there, but we'll see how that goes. The royal fern and the lady fern are doing quite well. The lady fern especially is bushing out rather than growing high like it was before. This Jurrasic gold came from over there where the fig tree is now planted, but we'll get to that in a second. So I just put him there because there was a space. Also, I've taken out the arachnoids, which was where that stone is, and the maidenhair fern, which was up there. They're both pretty much dead, so I've potted them up. I'm going to sort of look after them a little bit and see what happens. This Cyathia's started slowing down a bit, but the thing I like about it is it's really random, because this frond that come up last, which is pointing towards us in the centre, is actually growing on the far side of the crown. So it's sort of, you would expect it to do what the two have done there, the one on top of the other, and sort of point that way, but it's pointing towards us. So quite you know, good and interesting in that respect. Oh, I did say it would slow it down, but there's a nice big frond coming up there. This small Dicksonia is looking really good, still looking really good. It was only a little plant one I bought for like 15-20 quid at the local garden centre. It's not even, you know, there's no trunk on it, but he's going really fast and really well, so it'll be interesting to see how he does getting into the latter stages of autumn. This Athyrium Niponicum Crested Surf, which I'm guessing if you look at that top left frond is because it's got a sort of split on the end of it, but he's doing quite well now. I've moved him over from where I was going to put the giant honeysuckle. There's his mate over there, who's been there a bit longer than him, but I think they like this kind of wet under the canopy area. So I'll probably keep them there, to be fair. This big Dicksonia, or I say big, relatively big for the garden, he did throw up his new frond. Got just a tiny little bit burnt on the end, but nothing major. It's throwing up a new frond at the back there, which is quite good, because if we look at it from this angle, it looks a bit lopsided with it all coming out this way. So that one's going to come up. You can just see it there against the fence. That one's pretty good. The Fatsia is still going strong, so he'll probably stay there. The Polypodium's doing really well down there, so I'll keep him there. the Arata is starting to get a little bit of size to it now. It's thrown out those new fronds. It's doing exactly what I wanted it to do, which is what I want them all to do, which is kind of grow out across the play area a bit. So sorry, I got a bit of a throb in my throat. So this Athyrium, I forgot what it's called now. Still looking pretty good. It's lost a bit of the red tinge it had, but he's actually going to go where the Inseti's going. I'm going to put another Arata in there. So yeah, that time will come. Obviously, you can see I've moved this fig tree. I was umming and ahhing about it, and what it was, which pushed me in this direction, was that if I sort of come back this way a minute. Sorry, I've got obstacles, but you can see we've got this big tree up here and this big one up here. I've planted it about centre way between the two of them, and the reason is because it's deciduous, so it will drop its leaves, so I don't want to rely on it for winter evergreenness. But I'm hoping I'm going to train it up, get it so the bottom of any canopy is in line with the top of the fence, and then just let it grow up, and then when it loses its leaves in winter, it won't look out of place, because these two trees are deciduous as well, and it means that anything evergreen like that, Fatsia and something, whatever I'm going to put in where this camellia's going, you know, will sort of make up for that. So other than that, these ones are sort of still doing the same. These Asplenium here, these Scolopendriums, are doing really well. This Herrenhausen's starting to have I did go through, I think I mentioned last time about the brown fronds, and I was a bit worried it was a mite or a grub or something, so I literally went through the whole garden, took off anything brown, and now things have come really back to life. So obviously it was probably just they were dying off, and I cut them off, and it's putting all its energy into new stuff now. So here's the other royal fern. He's doing alright. He's just there. This ostrich feather fern, I think it's deciduous, but he's doing alright there. You might just see a little sneaky peek of a new plant I bought the other day. This is a Shefflera Taiwaniana. I'll probably go into these a bit more in the next video, but I've put them here basically. Is just the gist you need to know. But this is the kind of style of leaf I was on about last time that I couldn't remember the name of. I still don't know the name of it, but I call it like a hand, because it's like your hand facing down with your fingers open. This is hardy, but at the moment it's only just brand new, hot off the presses, and you probably can't see, but the trunk is only about 2 inches of woodiness that I can see, and the rest of it isn't. So I'm hoping we're going to have a bit of a late autumn, and it stays like 15 degrees for another 3 or 4 months. 3 months, sorry, 3 or 4 months. 3 months. Otherwise, I might take him up, put him in a pot, and keep him inside over winter. That one just this year, and then put him back there next spring. This other Herrenhausen's going alright. The Dryopteris Arata, the crispum one, is, you know, doing what it does, just sitting there. So the leaf, the frond on the Woodwardia Radicans has come out quite well. You can see that nice colour to it. It's actually throwing up a few more now. They unfurl really funnily, these ones. It's kind of like a reverse JCB digger sort of thing, as opposed to the Dicksonias and that, which sort of unfurl. This sort of lifted up, unfurled, and then lifted up again, so really weird. You can see here's my second new plant, which is another Shefflera. This one is the Rhododendrifloria, I think. It's a bit more bushy from what I gather, so I've put it here where it's got a little bit more space, and the idea of these is to grow up to sort of mid-height and above, and sort of cover a bit of the fence. I just moved the fern, kept the ferns in and around it, like that shuttlecock form, which was where that other Shefflera was, just to help them keep a bit of humidity in. So the T-Rex here, the Tetrapanax Rex, you can see has recovered. I worked out what it was in the end. It wasn't that it got overheated. I mean, that may have been the catalyst, but it was, I think it was me overwatering it. I was trying to make up for the fact that it had so much heat, so I was putting loads of water in it. It got about a week after I made the last video, and I was like, yeah, I need to go. But then I put my hand in the soil, and it was sopping wet, even though I hadn't like properly watered it. So I was like, oh, that's a bit odd. So I basically didn't water it for 3 days, and I was just giving up hope on it. I'd actually bought some like proper compost to pot it in that, and then it suddenly just took one morning I woke up and the leaf was as big as it is now. This second leaf was starting to creep out. So yeah, I did in the summer keep that in that little burst we had over the weekend. That table was over it just to stop it getting sunburnt anyway, but yeah, there we go. So we'll keep an eye on that. Like I said, the same with the Shefflera. If that can just get a few months of 15 degrees and above into it, it might be okay, as in I won't not need to do anything with it for winter, but yeah, we'll get to that when we come to it. So the Lophosoria doing quite slow to unfurl these things. You can see, I think last time it was about halfway up that new frond, and it's only gone up about half of that again, so that one will be one to watch over the next couple of weeks, I suppose. What else have I done? So yeah, over here I put the banana pups into bigger pots, just see what happens with them. The rabbits, the hare's foot fern, I've put in this planter. I'm not sure it completely likes it because it's starting to go brown already, but then it has been full sun for ages and it's probably not adjusted, so I'll leave that for a bit and see what happens. Over here I was starting to prep myself into thinking about this giant honeysuckle that's coming, that's going to go in between the eucomis and the banana and grow up here, and I was kind of thinking, oh, how can I do a cheap fence? And I had loads of pallets out the front, so I was going to sort of do something with that. But then I just thought, you know what, I may as well just get it done properly, and then I don't have to worry about taking it apart at a future date or anything like that. So yeah, I spent a bit of money on it, but wood's expensive at the moment. So we'll see. That honeysuckle should come this week, and then depending what the expert says, depends whether I'll put it out, but it'd be nice to get it in and give it a few months growing, but we shall see what happens. So yeah, the Inseti is doing alright, that's still going. I'll be taking him out and moving that Athyrium over here. The dahlias are doing quite well. This one's going mental. I think it's because it gets the sun pretty much all afternoon, but yeah, you can see all the flowers on that, so he's doing alright. He needs a dead head in there. And then the only other thing to note really is this banana over here. I'm a little bit worried because it's leaning even more than what I said last time, and after speaking to the guy who I bought the Sheffleras off, he thinks that taking the pups off might not have been a good idea, especially for its hardiness over winter. So we'll see how that goes. This saxifraga stolonifera is kind of, it died, as you can see. All the leaves around the edges are sort of all wilted and red and all that, but then it's just this last couple of days the three in the middle have gone green again, so you never know. It looks like it's sending out a little sucker thing as well, so you never know, it might actually survive being decapitated by a cat, which would be quite nice. So yeah, so that's about the update for it at the moment. It's really starting to get the theory I want, which is if I'm stood at the door, can you see how that sort of takes up a lot of the climbing frame view? You can't really see it, and especially if these sort of leaves grow out across the wood, you'll just see a sort of little slide sticking out hopefully, and that's the same thing I want here, these bananas to come over the middle, so you sort of have to sort of creep through the jungle to get into the next, what will be a seating area. But anyway, it's starting to rain, so I suppose I better wrap that up for now. So other than that, oh yeah, one last thing actually is that these climbers, these morning glories, they have started to flower, but I think it's my fault. I'm only getting 1 or 2 a day, not the masses that I was hoping for. So yeah, would they be worth the trouble for someone who knows what they're doing? Yes, the flowers are very nice. Are they worth the trouble for me? No, probably not. But yeah, they do like to go mental. I'm so glad I didn't leave them. I had 3 of them in that bed originally, and just imagine I'd have left them there, they'd have gone absolutely mental and been, you know, all over the place and like seeded and blah 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 blah. So yeah, there we go. So anyway, that's a quick update, quick whiz round. My next jobs are, I'm probably going to get these 2 fence posts in for the pergola, and then that will just be a pergola up to this point here. and then this will be a pergola coming across, but it'll have a plastic roof on it, and then the seating area will have a roof on it as well, plastic roof, and then it'll be open-ended up by the tree ferns. But maybe I'm just sort of considering about overwintering, and whether I need to do, you know, put a detachable roof onto it, or, you know, something. Probably not, but yeah, so it's all go. I'll get these fence posts in next. I should have that giant honeysuckle as well, which I can put over there. And yeah, the world keeps a turning and the garden keeps moving on. So anyway, happy days. See you next time.